Hello everyone and welcome to State of the Realm, your weekly Final Fantasy XIV podcast. This week, we're going to be covering some of the stuff we've missed after doing back-to-back 4.4 related shows over the past several weeks. There's a couple of interviews with some talking points that we're going to be hitting on today, but don't expect it to be as long a show as the previous weeks, unless we do our usual thing, that is. Alright, I am one of your hosts, Michael, Mr. Happy Pover. Of course, joining me is Sly, aka Slythefox, aka Sly, aka Greyfox. Did I say that twice? Aka my boy Blue. I was reading the thing that you posted, and I lost track of where I was in the intro.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. It's been another busy week of MapleStory 2 and Final Fantasy 14, and maps that don't agree with me in 14, and maps that don't agree with me in MapleStory 2. So everything's just maps. Maps hate me. I can't get past the 5th invocation. It's been like 400 maps at this point. I just want the Invoker of Gods title, Sly.
Yeah, I need to do more maps. Nobody does maps. I really wish we could do maps cross server. That would really help.
One day. Might have those mega servers one day. You never know.
Really soon.
I mean, no one said that, but it's expansion coming up. You never know what could happen. But how's your week been, Sly? How are you taking your loss last week?
Better. It was better than the previous loss. Like, closer.
Okay. But unfortunately, you don't get to wear the belt. That's the biggest loss.
You say unfortunately like it's... No, I'm good. You can have it.
No, you'll win it one day, Sly, and then you can wear it.
No.
You know what? You can win it in the not the next Erzivia, but the one that comes after 4.5. When we do, because then you can wear it till the next expansion comes out.
Why would I want to do that?
Because that's when you'll be playing the least, and no one will see it.
Well, true.
There you go. See?
Yeah.
See? I'm on your side here.
Glad you are.
Of course I am, Sly. I always got your back. But anyway, speaking of that, before we get on to some of the interviews, one I believe comes out of Korea, because they did have a producer live letter not too long ago, and there's a couple of interviews that came out of there, although I could only find one. And also one from Final Land. Quick little reminder, Sly, we're only 30 days away from FanFest at this point.
Yes, we are. A lot of people are counting down at this point. Like Sly. 3 days away from FanFest. It's gonna be crazy. No, it's not.
I mean, it is gonna be crazy, dude. We get to fight Yojimbo. That's what I'm looking forward to. Don't forget about Jimmy.
To fight Jimmy. An old Jimmy.
Again, to be fair, we have fought him. Just because I don't do Kugane Tower or Kugane Castle anymore.
There better be a shirt. That's all I'm saying. There better be a shirt.
Or a gill pouch. It'd be fitting for him to have a gill pouch.
A gill pouch.
Just give me a fanny pack to pay Yojimbo out of. The Yojimbo fanny pack.
Right.
It's all right. That's
so
all.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm ready. Ready for all the not even the con things. It's just what you do outside of the con is.
Sly, this is on you, because I don't go to Vegas and do anything when I go to the conventions. I'm at the convention.
No. It's not even like Vegas shit. It's just meeting up with friends, doing whatever, and like.
Sly, I've seen you with a drink in your hand. I know it could get pretty crazy. Okay. I've seen the long bottle hanging from your neck like half the other people in Las Vegas. I've seen that thing just go away.
Okay.
You having a good time is all I'm saying. Down at the Hooters.
Maybe.
You're not going there. I'm not going there. So you're not going to get me there.
We'll get him there.
No, you won't. It's literally impossible.
He says, okay. All
Sly,
right.
what power do you have to get me there?
I could, just say, why would I tell you my plan? No.
I didn't say tell me what your plan. I said, what power do you have?
Maybe not me, but
Nobody has the power.
Persuasion, really?
No. Nobody has the power.
So you wouldn't go with me to Hooters to get some beer and wings and watch football?
Why would I go to Hooters for that when I could go to some place that has real beer and wings?
Okay, name a place.
I don't any place else. It's this wonderful place called Anywhere Else.
Anywhere else? I haven't seen them on Yelp. What's their ratings looking like?
Anywhere from 1 to 5 stars, depending on where that anywhere is. Oh man. But yeah, it's gonna be. We got big times. I mean, we'll find out if Shadowbringers is the real title. We'll get like the first minute and a half trailer. Because we don't get the full trailer. It's not ready by then. We get the concert, which I'm actually really looking forward to after this last patch, because if they don't perform a few songs, including O11, I'm going to be very upset if the other regions get O11 or anything like that. Sly, no.
I want to hear the lyrics live. I want to hear it.
You're going to be able to interpret them as well as we can interpret them now.
Sure. Still.
You're going to have people with signs with the lyrics, holding them up, see if Soken knows. I wonder if anyone's going to ask Soken about that. Have you heard people's fan translations of your lyrics?
Oh god.
He'll be all right. I'm sure he'd enjoy it.
I hope. This is part of me hoping that Soken doesn't watch, or somebody hasn't gotten this to him of my fan translation.
Oh no, your fan translation's the one I hope he does see.
Oh god. There
you go. Yeah, I hear Ancient Egg Rolls in there too, and he says Ancient Echoes. I always hear Ancient Egg Rolls. I know it's Ancient Echoes though, so that's one that doesn't confuse me as much. But yeah, we got some good. Oh yeah, live letter. I guess it looks like we won't have a live letter before then. It's kind of disappointing because it's a pretty long time between live letters, which is unusual because we normally have one before the 0.5 patch comes out. And Pyros they said would be just over a month, and I think we're at the month mark now, so it's got to be, I guess, 6 weeks. I'd have to imagine it's coming in like 2 weeks from today, but we haven't gotten anything yet.
You think so?
Well, they said what Yoshi P said. I don't remember where it was. I have to look for the source. It might actually be in one. Actually, might be in one of these interviews. I don't know.
So that'd be the 30th.
Yeah, it'd have to be somewhere soon because I don't want to imagine Pyros taking till after FanFest. Like I remember what happened with Pagos, and I just don't want to imagine it taking until that point. I don't want to. Yeah, we're on the 5th lockout, so it's been exactly 4 weeks since the patch today. Right. So we're on our fifth reset, pretty much, going into week 5. So it would have to be at the earliest that 2 weeks from today, and then if it's not 2 weeks from today, honestly, I don't think it will be till after FanFest. I just don't want to imagine that, just especially after the comment that was made. So,
right.
Don't get me wrong, it's Eureka. I guess I don't really care when it comes, but
you're not excited about finishing Eureka? You're excited about?
I hope this one has some good story cutscenes because the drip feed of the story for Eureka is not doing it for me. I don't care about taking like 4 quests to go look at a drained crystal or something like that, and then one quester goes, "I am Eureka," and it's like, okay, yeah, we get Fire Zuzu, all of that.
Can it not be a Zuzu?
No, it has to be.
No,
yeah.
No,
yeah. What else would you?
Its actual goddamn name.
No. Pazuzu, like, Snow Zuzu, Fire Snoo Snoo, and then, or Zuzu. Snoo Snoo is what I call the other one. Pyro Zuzu.
There's only one Zuzu.
No, they're all Zoos. We're making them Zuzus. It's unavoidable. It's okay. It's alright. You'll catch up at some point. Sly. It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so with that, we do want to talk about some of the recent interviews that have popped up. There's more, but I had trouble finding them. So I'll leave the floor open if somebody else has one that we don't end up talking about today, because I feel like there was one in particular I really wanted to include, but when I was looking back through the interviews that I'd kind of archived, I realized I was like, wait, I feel like there's one missing from here. I don't know why. It just feels like there's one missing.
Who?
I don't know. That's the thing. I feel like it's another one that came out of Korea, other than the one I sent you. But I don't know. I don't know. Like the first Korean one we have here, interview with Naoki Yoshida, for producer and director, talking about the difference in demands between the global and the Final Fantasy XIV Korean communities. This actually is not so much about that, I feel like, the answer, but there's something very interesting culturally, something that we've spoken about before that comes up from this question. And it's kind of the whole gist of Yoshida's point, where he says, North America has by far the largest population of Final Fantasy XIV. So we've known that for quite some time. Login, server traffic. And then he even openly says that many adventurers spend about 2 months on new content. And then once they're done with that, they play other games until the next major patch. So that's a pretty open narrative to the way he calls it, also efficient. Which is interesting, because when it comes to an MMO, efficiency is actually like the number one thing people look at, which is why we have stuff like, the speedrunning mentality, or, the super meta mentality that kind of takes people over. But efficient in an MMO means you generally play less after you've figured something out efficiently. So we've brought this up before. It's still eerie. It's still a little bit eerie, as much as it is relatable, that he's so okay with that whole stop playing after 2 months and then come back kind of thing.
It's just the void of content. I mean, it's natural. Why would? I mean, if your love of the game goes beyond the void, then by all means play. But if there's nothing, you have no rooting interest at that point, then yeah, by all means go do something else. You have the time.
I agree with that. It's just it's still weird to design an MMO and be okay with that, because generally with MMOs where you have monthly subscriptions, you don't want there to ever be that void. But he's right. He's always. I agree with this. It's good for me. I enjoy that I can play the game like this. But it is still a weird thing to kind of get used to every time he talks about people stepping away from the game for a period of time and then coming back to it. I think he's okay with it because they come back in the end.
Now, let me ask you about this. Like you've gotten through AlphaScape. Are you feeling that void right now?
I have see, the thing is, I don't ever feel the void because I don't think about it. Like, I think about it when we do these shows and it comes up. And maybe when somebody asks me, like, directly. But other than that, I fill those voids with other things. Like, I filled it with 11 earlier this year. 11 has its anniversary coming up next month, as a matter of fact, so I'll probably revisit it then. I've had MapleStory 2 with that. I had Octopath Traveler before that. I had Dragon Quest 11 before, with that as well. So, like, I fill it, I just don't think about it. It's just from a design perspective, you'd almost imagine that they wouldn't want that void to exist. And being okay with that void almost is like, not doing business optimally, almost. As much as I like it, it's just weird to see, hey, pay us monthly, but leave occasionally,
I think it's the understanding of the business model. Honestly, knowing where they stand, knowing how content shapes out, and knowing hey, we're going to lose player population in these times. It's just an understanding of their business model that I guess they created. Like, they know themselves.
Hey, people I say who like, nah, I'm done. Like, there's always a patch that brings it back every time.
Yeah,
and I guess that's where they put their money where their mouth is. Be like, oh, that's you unsubscribed. Well, welcome back.
Welcome back.
Oh, there was no raid content. Well, now there is. So here you go, buddy. Oh, 2 months again. I'll get those 2 months whenever it applies, buddy. So yeah, it's always an interesting point to me. That's only the first of the cultural things that Yoshida brings up on that question, though. The other thing is, it's actually also interesting. The Korean version just plays regardless of when the major updates are. Apparently, it's far more common for them to just stay subscribed the whole time. Which, honestly, with how saturated MMOs are in Korea, like, don't get me wrong, the West has a fair share of MMOs, but Korea is like an MMO ocean. Even if a lot of them come and go in like a month, like they get developed, they're popular for a month, and then they dissipate into the void, their own void. It's just it's weird to me that there's this consistent comfort with the Korean version that keeps people far more consistently than the West does, I suppose.
Yeah, it's like you said, they have a lot. They and we get that too. We get some of what Korea gets, and we go through the same thing too. Less Blade and Soul, to name a few. Yeah,
I see where you're going with this. I see the way you're looking at me, Sly.
So yeah.
All right. I see where you're going. I'm gonna move on from that point now. I can see the smile on your face, and I know where this conversation goes if I leave it. So, and then they bring up China, and this I actually thought was super interesting. Chinese players do not use the duty finder. They just don't.
So they actually party up.
He said that they found a bug in the party finder they never would have discovered on the global server because in China, there were 5,000 listings on the party finder at that time. Imagine if you opened your party finder on Primal and there were 5,000 listings.
I would feel good about that.
Yay! You kind of would, yeah.
Yeah, right, because party finder right now is so fucking dry, dude.
But I mean, keep in mind that they're making, apparently it's if you want to do Sastasha, you find it in the party finder. If you want to do like Wondrous Tales, you'll find that there. If you want to do Cape Westwind, you will party find, like they're party finder in Cape Westwind. Like consistently.
That's why people are getting it for duty finders for their dailies. Yeah, that's why. Okay.
Everything possible that you can do in the duty finder, they're searching for it in the party finder. 5,000 listings. That's insane. It would be really cool though if we did see that on ours. It will never happen, but
it will never fucking happen because we are too goddamn lazy.
You know what? I almost feel. Here's the thing. Even if you wanted to do a roulette, they're just party findering the roulette. They're never like, oh. Think about this though. With like the MSQ roulette, the only people going in are the people who joined that party finder. You always get 8 people that want to do that MSQ roulette. You never have that one person who's like, why did I make this decision after they've made that decision? Like, yeah, I'll just do it once. The guy's like, no, I'm in right now. So that's another thing to consider. I don't know. I find all of that
fucking trial. Like they're party finding trial roulettes.
Everything. There almost nobody uses the duty finder in China.
They must hate fucking
literally this last night. We do not know if it's simply based on their cultural background or not, but it is notable how they do not use the duty finder as soon as they hit level 15. The first dungeon they have unlocked, they're like into the party finder. I like it.
I don't know. that feels weird.
Yeah, because it's so different.
It's different, and like again, they must really fucking hate queues.
I mean, I guess they'd rather go in with the full party and not get the queue, but take, because it could take time to find 4 people for like a Sastasha in the party finder still.
Right.
You could set that up as a DPS and it's still like 3 other people have to join you. Mm-hmm. But I wonder if there's ever a point where they just give up. They go, well, we have 3, let's take our chances still. But there's 5,000 lists. That's nuts. That's just crazy for me that there's 5,000. There was 5,000 listings at one point. That's just so surreal to me. Just imagining it.
Never. We will never be able to see how that feels.
Dude, I want to go to China and just watch someone log in and just look at the party finder.
Like, just go to a cafe and just...
Yeah. Honestly, I would love to just go to a cafe and see someone who's playing 14 and watch them do something in the party finder. And then still say that the group was shit. But, you know...
Absolutely.
Same problems, just a different entry
not getting
point.
past that. Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, that was, as much as it was interesting, it's he doesn't even talk about the demands of the community. It's just the way that they play the game. But it's still always an interesting talking point.
Oh, yeah.
Next is also an interesting one. 14 has often been compared to World of Warcraft. Statistically speaking. I know, right? It's hard to believe, right?
Really?
Hard to believe, right? Statistically speaking, how close are we to WoW? And at this point, so we've actually known this for a long time. Soken makes it abundantly more clear than Yoshida does, but there's a lot of Blizzard fanboys in the Japanese Square Enix office. A lot of them. I mean, let's be clear. Square Enix publishes Overwatch in Japan. Let's always remind ourselves of that. And that's the game that we've seen Soken interview after interview. He's like, Overwatch. I just play Overwatch all the time. It's like, I just want to play Overwatch all the time. But, you know, Yoshida's popped up at BlizzCons. You know, people have posted pictures of him. There's even been 14 cosplays at BlizzCons, which I always think is hilarious.
Wow.
I love when, like, I see the occasional BlizzCon picture, which is coming up in a few weeks, and there's somebody who's dressed as, like, the Warrior of Light or something in there. But he uses this opportunity to kind of talk up to World of Warcraft. He says, before League of Legends broke the world record, WoW had it with 12 million active in-game users. WoW is the role model we look up to rather than the rival. Deep in our hearts, we want our game to be as loved as much as WoW, even now. I happened to visit Blizzard Entertainment last year and meet J. Allen Brack, who was the CEO at the time. I was able to meet the WoW team because we share common ground, including our battle, content designer, and localization team members. It was more of a fan meeting than a business meeting because I am a fan of Blizzard. In the other interview we'll go over, he gets far more in detail about his fanboyism.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, I feel like with us as the players, there's always this competition with all MMOs. Everyone wants their MMO to be the one that's revered.
I remember when Heaven's War was first coming out, and I remember that tweet, and I think it was the official Blizzard. Was it the official Blizzard Twitter that tweeted back about it was like a back and forth between.
I remember the Deathwing and the Bahamut one, but I don't. Yeah. I vaguely remember the thing that you're referring. Oh, the real Horde.
The real Horde.
Yeah, that's right. It was patch 3.3, I think, where it was Revenge of the Horde. And then World of Warcraft posted about the real Horde. And I don't remember what Final Fantasy XIV rebuttal. It's been so long since I've seen that, but I'd forgotten about that little back and forth.
Man, everybody lost their fucking mind over it, and it was just a simple exchange. So yeah, it's like you said, the community sees it more as competition, and the devs just see it as respect.
Yeah,
I like that. It's pretty healthy for the community.
One thing I remember going way back is when Second Coil came out. One of the content designers, the battle designers over at Blizzard, they wrote a whole huge post about their appreciation or why the design of Turn 9 was as good as it was. And it was a hell of a write-up from someone who's writing about what we would interpret as a rival in the space, pretty much. There was also one on Thornton. Yeah, then they also did one on Thornton. They've done one on both. So there's multiple ones out there. But it's... I mean, I prefer to see the camaraderie. Like, I'm friends with Towley, who's, a big WoW streamer. I have plenty of friends. Bajira, Carter, or DeAndre, as people know him on Twitch. And, there is not really this rivalry between us. There is a camaraderie, I feel, because we just love our own games as much as we do. And we just try and share that with each other more so than anything else.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to see the actual developers have that sort of camaraderie or fanboyism with each other versus versus a competitive nature.
Do you think it's the majority of the player base that just feeds the?
Oh, it's always that. It's like League versus Dota. I'm sure that League versus Dota. I'm sure like Steam and I guess I don't know if I doubt they hate each other, but like I know that those two communities always fight about which game is better. I know that what's another one? I mean, you and I play Dauntless, and Monster Hunter versus Dauntless is always a thing, but we know that, you know, the Dauntless team, the whole reason they made it is because they loved Monster Hunter.
Monster Hunter.
That's exactly the whole reason why Dauntless is being made in the first place. So it's like I feel like it's always us that fuels this, and never the developers. COD versus Battlefield. That one is far older than the ones I named. COD versus Battlefield goes back quite a bit. Smash versus anything that loses to it. Yeah, okay. What was I gonna say? Smash versus PlayStation fucking All-Stars? No.
No.
That wasn't gonna happen. Yeah, COD versus Halo also. I think COD versus Battlefield was always the bigger one there. But, you know, it's just I like to see rivalries because games are forced to evolve off each other, but this camaraderie is always good too.
Competition is healthy, I think.
It is. It's mandatory.
Yeah.
Even here on Twitch, it's like when all these other companies started getting these streaming platforms, everyone's like, oh no. And I'm like, no, good. Because the one that I pick is going to have to be good because the other ones are trying to be good.
Yeah.
Pepsi versus Coke. All right, let's be fair. Pepsi loses that one every time. Okay, anyway. There you go. That's easy. When a place says they only serve Pepsi, you're like, well, you're wrong, but I'll take it. All right. Okay. But anyway, moving on from that, we'll come back to that point a little bit later when we talk about the other interview, because then we get the topic that I feel like we've actually waited, like, it's been like a year since this has come up. At least a year.
Has it? I mean, I feel like it comes up every so often, like somehow, some way. Hey, are you thinking about free to play? No.
He didn't even say no. He said absolutely not.
So hell no.
Yeah, that's a hell no. Because apparently you need to translate absolutely not to hell no. Yes, it's a hell no. Yeah. Free to play is not something they're considering, and he's pretty straightforward. It's a business. We look at profits through games. We consider the close trust between developers and players. And simply trying to maximize profits in a short period of time. Games like Dragon Quest Builders, recently released in Korea, and 14 are in a similar sense. It's all about, if these guys made this game, it's a safe bet to play and likely to enjoy it myself. It's much more beneficial for us in the long run. In the developer's perspective, we think that quick profit is not the right way. Even if 14 is making a sizable profit, surprisingly well, we do not want to push players to reach further into their wallet. Man, that Mog Station, though.
Yeah. And when I read that, that's exactly what I was thinking of. Like, what are you thinking of when you say this? Because there's this queen of the Mog Station that would, like...
I mean, it's her job to get us to put our wallets into that Mog Station.
Exactly.
So, you know, she was hired for that purpose. He's not thinking about it, but she is.
She is.
Because if she stops thinking about it, job's gone. Job's gone.
Yeah, exactly. There has to be somebody to think about these things.
Yeah.
And like he has to, with his new promotion, he has to kind of have this perspective, honestly.
Yeah, because he follows it up with, instead it would be better to encourage at least 2 to 3 times the population with lowered spending per individual, establishing healthy continuation of 3 to 10 years in sight. Hence, we have no plans for free to play at all. In addition, this social game market in Japan is in rough condition. Many games do not last past 2 months, and the way I see it, it is the broken trust between developers and players by looking at the profit more than anything else. The only thing left out of those games, born and dead, were characters and IPs. That sounds like the Korean MMO market we were just talking about, where they just up and disappear within almost no time at all.
And what do you think is up with the saturation in that market? I mean, it feels like I know there are a lot of companies trying to get their there are a lot of new devs, a lot of companies trying to get their their name out there, but they have to notice the trend, and like for them to even take that risk, kind of feels a bit naive in that sense.
Well, in Korea, you can generally release something that, is free to play with lots of microtransactions. And because of the culture there, from what I understand, stuff that's like more pay to win over there is more acceptable because people don't have as much time. So, paying to get, a little bit further lets them enjoy what they want to enjoy. And so it's like just a more culturally accepted thing. The problem is, as soon as they do get bored of it, they just go to the next thing, which we do too, but it happened. Like the turnover is insane there. There's so many publishers, there's so many developers, there's so many people trying to do all that.
But I just feel like they don't have longevity in mind.
They don't care because every time they make something new, people try it, spend the money on it, and they make more money off of developing something in that short burst and then developing the next thing. And then maybe even localizing it, bringing it over here for another short burst.
Right.
It's a common trend.
And hell, if you want to go even further, the fucking mobile market is ridiculous.
Okay, that's really Japan, and that I've got to admit, that's a market I've dived into a little bit. So,
right. I mean, there are a few standouts. We have our few standouts in terms of the mobile market. Brave XV, not Brave XVS.
Brave XVS is that's a mobile game. That is.
I mean, is it really stand out though compared to
Brave XVS has its own fan festival, Sly.
I was comparing it to Opera Omnia, but
Opera Omnia doesn't have its own fan festival.
Yeah, like Brave XVS, Grand Order, like just name anything. There are so many standouts.
Dude, I did a sponsored thing for Dungeon Hunter Champions. I didn't realize it was on Windows. It's not bad. I didn't realize Kriparian played it. I might see what he's got for it too, but I've already got Opera Omnia and I spent a hardcore amount of time there. So I cannot stand Fire Emblem Heroes. I don't want to talk about Fire Emblem Heroes. Can't do it.
Wow.
Can't do it. I just don't like the gacha. The gacha in that game makes me feel terrible. I never feel good, whether it's currency they've provided or currency I've provided, and I just hate it.
I mean, to be honest, the gacha in DX2 Liberation can be pretty fucking.
I heard Dragalia lost to some really bad gacha. Like it wants you to gacha for everything. As fun as it is, I hear it's a gacha hell. I'm going to stick to my Opera Omnia gacha. Because this one's kind to me.
Still want that Lucifer DX2.
Sly's got his as well.
Still trying to pull Lucifer. Please and thank you.
Yeah, you're not going to get your... That's LA traffic, in case anyone... Yeah. So, that's gonna be that's good. That's good. You know what my favorite thing that came out of Japan? It's not a mobile game, or not necessarily, I guess, a gachapon, but it's there's a website where you can go to remotely play crane games in Japan.
Crane game. Yes, I've been wanting to try one of those. Oh my god!
And they'll ship you the prize if you actually win it.
Yeah, I think I saw it on was it Achievement Hunter?
Yeah, that's where I saw it. I saw it on the Achievement Hunter page, and I was like, yo, this is so entertaining. I was not ready for it.
No. And it made me really want to try it and actually hope I win something. But I'm not going to.
Dude, I want a Yakitori maker.
I know.
That's what I want. I'm cool with that. Dude, I'll try it one day. I'll try Toriba one day.
All right.
Make it happen. All right. What else? I mean, that's kind of the whole thing there. There's some other stuff here. But those are kind of like the big points that we need to hit on. Man, I forgot that Korea has they get perks when you play in certain net cafes. Did you know that?
No.
So like if you play in one net cafe, you could get like plus 10% EXP while playing in that cafe. You could get like Echo and Dungeons
for playing in a cafe.
Like different cafes have different partnership bonuses with the game. Ramil's like, I saw that, Haps. You heard it too, because I said, God damn it, out loud. It's cool though for stuff like that.
It's cool. We don't get shit for playing at home.
I like this in Korea. I didn't know in Korea they call the big three publishers the 3N: Nexon, Netmarble, NCSoft. So almost every like MMO is developed by those three out there. Oh man.
Yeah, that's
their own live letter broadcast dependent on call. Yeah, they get their own live letters. Like this interview, I think, came after one of the live letters that they had in Korea. And I've had some of the Korean players come over to the stream to see like, hey, this is what we'll be getting in however many months. Like, how is it? We want to prepare for it. And they do their research, man. They clear that shit real quick.
They clear really quick. I remember you were talking about it wasn't Ultimate. What was it? Was it Ultimate?
I mean, it might have been Ultimate. Ultimate went down pretty quick in Korea because of all the information that was already available.
Yeah.
And I remember back in with Gordius when it released in China, they killed it in full I-190. They did like a triple melee plus machinist comp and beat Manipulator with, without the gear check as a factor. Because, there's no gear check when you're in 190. That's like the expected item level going in. And they had already cleared it in global. That was another thing. They had actually been playing global and then played the Chinese version and did that too. So, yeah, it's pretty crazy to see how the staggered release ends up affecting. Because I'm used to being on the other side of it. Like, I'm playing MapleStory 2 right now, and everyone's like, well, in KMS2, they have this, that. And I play Opera Omnia, where they're like, oh, in Japan, they just released this. And I'm like, I'll see you in a year. So I'm used to being on the other side of it. So it's interesting being on the side that we get the stuff first and they get the stuff later.
Yeah.
So I always find that to be quite the interesting topic. But yeah, that was really all that came out of that Korean interview. A lot of interesting talking points, but not a whole lot of information, which is okay because this is a podcast, not,
news.
Not news. I mean, we are news, but like we're a podcast. So,
sure.
Doesn't.
And again, I wasn't really expecting much out of Korea since, again, like you said, staggered releases and everything, but like you said, it was more talking points.
People do ask. I have seen some other interviews over time, and some people do ask about stuff that's like closer to what global would ask. Like, hey, next expansion, because in the global version, you're gonna be preparing for this soon. It's still information for everyone, basically, and that's always a good thing. All right, so let's see. Then we have the one from Final Land. So the last time we covered one of their interviews, I called them Finland, and then I was told
I almost read it like that.
It's Final Land. It's Final Land with the one L. Okay. I was told that Finland was incorrect last time, and then I still called it Finland this time. But then I remembered that story about how I was told it was incorrect. And there's a lot of questions here that again raise interesting talking points, because we're always talking about, are they going to mix things up here? Are they going to try something different there? Or, can we get more raid bosses? Can we get, harder dungeons, whatever? And this kind of asked some of those questions, and we didn't really get the answers, I guess. People wanted certain answers, but they weren't necessarily answers we got. These were the very like PR standard, this is what we're doing kind of thing. And, clarifying on the way we have certain things right now. Because and also Soken's in on this interview. That's
always fun.
I do like Soken in interviews. Soken's a lot of fun. He's just a fun guy. No, he's not a mushroom. Don't make the joke. I'm warning them in the chat because I saw it coming.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. So one of the first questions they have is regarding resource allocation. Now, we know that we get less dungeons in Stormblood because those resources are being dedicated to other pieces of content. So they list things like Aquapolis, Palace of the Dead, the Ultimate Fights, and Eureka. Is it possible to have content without sacrificing resources? And Yoshida clarifies, are you worried because we've moved people off that maybe there will be less of certain things, etc.? And he clarifies that by moving dedicated team members to make dungeons, we are now making new content. The instance dungeons have gone from 2 to 1. Is this what you have in mind? And he asked the honest question. Yoshida, thank you for asking the honest question. Do we really need more instance dungeons? Can I just say thank you, Yoshida, for saying the thing that you and I say on the show? Do you really need more dungeons per patch? I love the burn. St. Mosion's was fine, but I don't need a third, and I don't really care about the fact that 4.5 is going to be 1 again. I don't care because they're just dungeons. They're just.
So you want to give us one more of shit we're gonna ignore after we do it the first time?
Yeah, pretty much. There's so many dungeons, and that's kind of the point that he focuses on here. It's like, you know, when they had a smaller development team, they had to concentrate on instance dungeons. Yeah, that's all the capacity they had to make. They're better at what they do now. They're trying out new things. And there's already so many dungeons. You know, reducing the amount of instance dungeon, increasing the amount of other type of content. It's just, we don't need any more. They just want to open up other opportunities and options for players other than just instance dungeons. And even if those things are hit or miss, it's better than getting 3. Like, I don't care about the 3 dungeons that we get.
But you do care for more raid.
I also want more customization in dungeons. Like, whether it's to make them more challenging or to mix it up a little bit more. They don't necessarily need to be, like, savage difficulty dungeons, but options for dungeons, you know, obviously Mythic Plus with World of Warcraft's been a big thing that I've referenced, and they are well aware that thing exists. So, yeah. Like, instead of more dungeons, I want more options for the dungeons itself to make it, you know, to make it attractive to a wider variety of people. It's already very much, you know, more casual content. You know, any player can kind of hop in a roulette and play, but it's not very attractive to the player who is into more hardcore stuff. With the raids, you know, we went the other way. The raids used to only be for the hardcore. You know, now we have the story and we have the savage, and it makes sense. It's attractive to a wider array of people. And I think dungeons can go the other way, is pretty much all I'm really saying there.
I just want them to add replayability to dungeons, you know, like we've been talking about.
If we need tomestones, we do, but they've given us so many ways to get tomestones. It's just
not tomestones, but within the dungeon, you know, a different experience every time, you know, like, you know, routes, and you're never going to go the same exact way every time you're in a dungeon because it's, you know, spaced out and you have different routes and, you know, certain things to make it, you know, replayable, make it, you know, actually an experience you want to go back to instead of just, oh, I'm done. And the only time I'm going to see this is when I do fucking dailies.
It's tough because of the way our gear design is done. Honestly, when they added a new mount to the Alamigo dungeon, I was so happy. I went back and did that dungeon 30 more times. And I never got it, but I went back and tried 30 more times. You got me to do that dungeon 30 more times than I would have otherwise attempted.
Oh, yeah, I remember when I accidentally passed on that fucking mount. I still haven't gone back and gotten it. Yeah, that's fun.
I was actually really hoping that with all the dungeons, with all the patches with only one dungeon, they'd put a mount in each of those dungeons. That's what I was hoping. I know it's a lot to ask for, you know, just adding a new mount's not like, you can't just add a new mount, but, you know, that was kind of my hope, because then you have less dungeons, but your reason to do this dungeon has gone up significantly over, you know, what it may have been otherwise, especially for odd-numbered patches, where it's just, you know, at that point especially, like, you've already had, if you've been playing, months of capping your tomestones, and it's not as important. So that particular aspect has been removed. So that's what I was hoping for, but anything for replayability would be nice. Honestly, I don't even care if they spin a roulette wheel at the end and give you bonuses based on it. I don't care. Something like that would be cool too, dude. I just like treasure maps. Okay, I just want. I think that's what we're getting. Of course you do. I just really like the treasure maps because it's always a mystery. There's always some degree of excitement, maybe a little bit of disappointment, a lot of bit of disappointment. But I have reasons to keep going back. I have titles, I have Gil, I have the individual rewards, and I have just something to do with people that anyone can do. I said achievements.
Oh, well, was I thinking of the tiger? Yeah, the tiger.
Yeah. And I just feel like they have all these isolated aspects with things like Deep Dungeon, things like treasure maps that they could take in smaller pieces and apply to other things, and it adds a fresh perspective to them. And also the mounts at the end of the odd patch dungeons. I think that would, honestly, even just that alone, I would do all those odd patch dungeons minimum 30 times more. I promise. Because I don't care about glam, but I do care about mounts. I also want more interesting dungeon achievements in general. I want more achievements. I want you know what? That's the number one thing I want. I want our achievement system to be fleshed out more. We just don't have fun achievements. All of our achievements are boring.
what would be a perfect example of a good achievement?
I mean, speedrunning dungeon achievements is a basic one that you can add in. It's also, I think speedrunning dungeon achievements is even something that like players who aren't super hardcore, they might see that achievement and look at it as a means of determining sort of improvement. It's like a goal. Like if a player's like, oh, I did that in 15 minutes and the speedrun is 11, for example, you know, they might look at that as a totally different type of challenge that isn't super hardcore, but it's about efficiency. Or, you know, do this boss in a certain way, you know, like for example, the last boss of St. Mosian's Arboretum, make sure that the little tiny thing, whatever it is, gets hit by every possible thing that it can be hit by. Never, don't protect it at all. Now, all of a sudden, you have to start mitigating the huge damage that comes out. You have to make sure that you're positioning it in the wrong places, which goes completely against the grain. Like, achievements like that force you to kind of go against the grain or challenge yourself in a more odd way. Let's go 06 Savage, one of the most boring fights. Now, one of the ways you can do that fight, you know, if you look at the ghost as the healer, it'll never move, but you'll get petrified and walk towards it for a few seconds. It basically cripples you for like 3-4 seconds. Make sure that ghost never moves the entire fight or something like that. You know, just stuff like that. I want more goals to reach for, and I think our achievement system's not being used adequately for it. Never skip Soar. When facing off Zervin, don't skip any Soars.
Don't skip Soar.
That one sucks. Don't do that. No, that's not a good one. That's it. Yeah, forced hard modes. Like I look back to Ulduar in World of Warcraft. I think most people would agree unanimously one of the best raids that game ever put out, if not the best raid that game ever put out. So, they basically, it wasn't like Ulduar and Ulduar, you know, mythic or Ulduar hard. It was just when you approached the bosses, there was a means through which you could go through it that made it harder. And that was something you could deliberately do to trigger getting an additional fight. As opposed to having two different difficulties, you just had this thing that was available there that gave achievements and gave access to eventually Algalon, who was a much more difficult, you know, I just like that. Like, instead of separating it by difficulty, just give players the option within it to approach it in a different way. Later, it's like, the thing you just described about St. Mosian's Arboretum, that's not an achievement. That's the party finder. It gets hit by everything. Well, I was just trying to get the achievement, guys. That's all I was trying to do here.
The people debuff.
Yeah, the people debuff. Survive this dungeon with the people debuff. Korea gets net cafe buffs. We get people debuffs.
One day that's actually going to show up, and I'm going to feel so shitty for it showing up.
There's going to be a debuff where, like, it's just going to be like a debuff where it's like standing next to people is bad. And now and that's going to be the one that's deemed the people debuff. Like, it's going to be like for every one player you're standing next to, something happens, kind of thing.
Achievement. Do or bail without quitting.
Hey, remember when they were going to give us that achievement for doing it like 150 times on each job?
Doing what?
Ormvale.
I don't remember that.
You don't remember that? What was it they were going to give? Oh, they were going to give us job-specific emotes for completing Ormvale like 100 times on each individual job. They never did it. I remember them talking about it, though.
Thank God.
I remember they were
Why
like...
the fuck would you want that?
Because they were trying to get people to stop quitting it. Or they were thinking about trying to get people to stop quitting Ormvale. So like, well, maybe if we make it so you do it as an emote. He did it he said it as a joke, but we all took it very, very seriously because we were like,
seriously.
We were like, I remember when Lords of Verminion was a fucking joke, and then, you know, like, let's just say nothing's a joke to me anymore after Lords of Verminion, which was a literal April Fool's joke. So none of it's a joke to me anymore. I take it all seriously because he's just like, haha, it's a joke. Wait, let's see what they say. Yeah. No. Oh, you think it's a good idea? Okay, they think it's a good idea. Put it on the schedule. Yeah, don't worry. It's just a joke, guys. It'll be next patch. That's how we got.
But good challenge log. Good challenge log. MGP.
I'll accept that. Yeah, like in the Final Fantasy XIV fighting game they showed us, where it's literally Street Fighter.
A real thing? I know!
Because they probably were going to get sued because they literally just took Street Fighter and, like, modded skins on top of it with their own animations.
Was it really?
You remember when they did the Super? The way...
those are...
No, but I mean, like, even the way, like, the Super's initiated and, like, the way that, like, when it's, like, a game... Because, you know, like, when you... In Street Fighter, when it's a Super that you end the match with, it's a different... You know, it gives you different text and a different animation. Yeah, it's like everything.
Yeah, see, Khuja brings a good point. There's Frame Fighter. Why can't we have...
Dude, Warframe just does all this crazy. I'm waiting on... I need my Fortuna. I need my skateboard. My hoverboard. I need it. I'm waiting for it. And I need my Garuda frame in Warframe. I'm waiting big time on that Garuda frame. Because I'm a Valkyr. I'm a Valkyr Prime kind of guy. So I need my Garuda. You know it. The elegance. I'm ready for it. I'm so ready for it. Okay, no Warframe. This is not a Warframe podcast. Let's move on. We can keep talking about Warframe. Anyway. So let's see. What else is there? So that's regarding dungeons. When it comes down to resources, Heaven on High, amount of resources we use to create that is not the same as creating an instance dungeon. It's about 3 times the amount of resources to make Heaven on High versus creating one instance dungeon. I mean, it kind of makes sense. You have to create 10 dungeons, technically. And they have to design this UI behind it. They have to, you know, they have to design it to be randomly generated. They have to have all this stuff that is not consistent. And it all needs to work without it all falling apart.
That's simple.
Yeah, I mean, as much as Heaven on High got a lot of flack for being pretty much Palace of the Dead 2.0 and not really its own thing.
Did it really get a lot of...
Yeah.
flack?
Oh, yeah, it did.
I mean, I personally liked it, even though I didn't finish. But why?
Because it's what it was. It's a fact. Here's the thing. The things they added to Heaven on High weren't frequent enough to make it stand out. Like, the giant floors was a great addition, as well as the fake exits. I think those are 2 points they hit on. But, like, the auspices, I literally have run into, like, 3 auspices in total to this day. They're like a non-factor. And I feel like there was one other change that was in there, and I don't even remember what it was. Like, it was so insignificant. I don't remember. I'm sure there is something I'm forgetting, but it just didn't matter. Magicite. Yeah, Magicite was the other thing. Oh, here's 4 more instant win buttons. Which, don't get me wrong, the fact that you have to go for silver chests to get them was, I think, actually the best way for them to go about doing that. But they just added a whole bunch more I win buttons. And cut the floors in half, which I think also was the right decision because I hate it. I never even wanted to go back and try to do Floor 200 and Palace of the Dead again. It was just, it took so long. I didn't care about how hard it was. It just took so fucking long. I would just like to see it stand on its own 2 feet a little bit more. It wasn't different enough from Palace. They could have just made Palace a new Palace of the Dead, like expanded that. And Heaven on High's story wasn't compelling either. It answered the question of what it was, but it wasn't super interesting.
I mean, we went in knowing what exactly it was going to be, which is like an upgraded, you know, Palace of the Dead and
elegance.
Like I didn't expect it to be something else other than what it was. Like there was really, I'm not going to say there was low expectation, but I wasn't expecting anything far beyond what it was, which is just, you know, Palace of the Dead 2.0.
I just think I
wasn't jaded.
I wasn't jaded either, but that doesn't mean you can't have criticism and hopes. You know, I totally expected it to be Palace of the Dead 2.0. But like for the auspices, I would have liked to see, one of the big things for me with Palace is the idea of the objective always functioning exactly the same on every floor. That's the thing I kind of wanted to see change the most. And they kind of hit that with the big floors where you get the fake exits. So you have an option, you know, you can manually check them to see, you know, and eat whatever the traps are and then deal with those. However, you can use commanders of the stealth ones to check them. And, you know, there's options. I didn't approach those floors the same way I approached every other floor. There's no wall, so it's harder to determine where the traps could be on the ground, even though it is still it's still not too hard to figure out where the traps could possibly be. But approaching those floors was entirely different than approaching the other floors, even though it was still ultimately just kill enemies. But, like, Maybe the auspices, for example, when you get an auspice floor, the auspice is providing this buff, but at the cost is you have to actually, like, I don't know, you have to escort the auspice from where it is to the actual exit point to actually enable it.
Don't put escort bullshit in.
I don't mind escorts because it's still the same thing. You're just killing the enemies in the way anyway. And the auspice is provided, and in exchange, this auspice is providing you with a massive buff. It's better than them being like, we're adding auspices and seeing them 3 times in over 200 floors completed. I just would rather have that, or, you know, if you avoid, like, reach the end is open, and if you avoid all detection, you get an extra 2 minutes on the clock. If you don't, then
bonuses?
Yeah. Like things like that. Like they just make, and then you hate the duty finder even more, but you know. Also, I'm not saying / beckon the auspice. I'm saying walk it from A to B. As in walk near it and it will move.
But
for fuck's sake, don't / beckon that thing.
Interactivity would be good. I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind a beckon.
Yeah, or maybe like individual rooms, instead of having enemies, it's almost like a mini isolated like what are the treasure dungeons, like a shifting altar, like a mini isolated shifting altars, or a mini isolated other one, and you can stop and it can give you extra hordes, or it can buy you extra time, or, you know, take some chances with these things and spice it up a little bit, you know. Bonus objectives: kill all enemies. Fuck. Or even just bonus objectives is not a bad idea. I mean, that's along the lines, like, I mean, kill all enemies. But the thing is, enemies respawn, so they'd have to also program a way to disable spawns in there.
Yeah.
Or put fates in it. put a fate in there. Like, there's just a fate in one of the rooms. Not lamps. Stop talking about fucking lamps. That's a Final Fantasy XI thing. No lamps.
I figured it was.
No more lamps. Or even a floor where nothing happens. Like it's just an occasional
blank floor.
There's an occasional just like straight up skip.
I mean, we kind of have that, don't we?
I mean, every Magicite is a free floor. Magicite's a free floor, you know. maybe one where there's a Namazu's running, like golden Namazu's running all over and stuff. Like, I don't know, man. I just literally want more random shit to be happening in there that makes it so I'm not just speeding up the floors. I have consideration of, like, you know, maybe this will be worth my time, or do I have enough time to do this bonus or something. A floor has a Tomos, it kicks you out, and if you're on floor 98, you're just like, no, don't do that. That would be bad if they like threw a Tomos in there. He sends you back a floor or something. That'd be mean.
Like it's an automatic kick out, or if you
no, he'll send you back a floor. He'll send you back to if you're on 98, he sends you back to 97. If you trigger him, that'd be mean. I just think they could do a lot more with it and really make it stand out. I hope that if and when they do another one, which I'm still betting will be the deep sea research facility from Final Fantasy VIII. That is my bet on the expansion. That'll be the next one. I think it's very Garlean, and I think it's very mysterious. So quote me on that. If it's not that, rub it in my face. But that's what I'm guessing, and I'm hoping that it'll be the case. But yeah, you can make that way more interesting.
When I say Ultimecia, it don't mean shit, but the deep sea research.
Well, deep sea research facility was fucking meaningless in 8, to be fair. Ultimecia is kind of a little important. she's a little more important. It has to be taken. There's a few more. You know, you can't take as many liberties with her presence in that one right there. Just saying. Okay. And yeah, they keep going into all that. Soken adds comments about like sound team design for stuff. I always feel bad when Soken's there and like people just keep asking Yoshida things. Everyone's like, so Yoshida, and Soken's like, please ask me things. I make sure to ask him plenty of questions because Soken's fun to interview. That's how I feel, at least.
People don't get that. Like, he is a really fun interview.
Yeah, he's very much like, I want to hear what you have to say when you interview him. That's what's so nice. I was like, hey, so do you have, like, of the recent songs you've done, what's your favorite? He's like, oh, I know what it is, but no, what's your favorite? Tell me. Like, if we were to perform that at a fan fest, like, what track would you really want to hear? And I'm just like, well, Escape wasn't out when he asked me that. I said Byakko at the time, because as much as I hate the fight, I love the song. So I said Byakko, and he's like, oh, okay. And he said, I think he said Tsukiyomi. I think that's what he said. He really like, not good King of Magomag. I don't want to put Koji through that ever again.
Ever.
It was painful watching him get put through that. Reaching for each individual hat to be the different Moogles. That was rough. No, it has to be Koji. Only Koji can do that theme. Soken can't.
Can we get another piano rendition from Soken? Because that was amazing.
I was in the hallway, but I could hear it.
Like when he used the box.
Get Soken to do forward and back. I just imagine like Koji being on stage, just being super bored, just going forward and back, and then forward and and we go forward and back. They put 1 foot forward. It's all right. It's good times. We're just getting excited because we get to enjoy this concert, and it's a secret. Nobody else gets to see it. Sly, it's gonna be our secret.
I kind of feel bad.
Yeah. Well, I just feel bad because I know there's 2 secrets that I'm gonna miss out on afterwards. Europe and Japan. Man. You want to know what's interesting about that? Oh no, there's also some German media stuff here in the Final Land interview, because they were like, it was a giant sit-in where like all the different various medias in at Gamescom were all there. They asked about character customization, which is a hot topic I think we've covered a little bit recently. They want like new Aura horns. They said, why are there no fat people? Which I'm of the opinion you can't have fat people in MMOs. Do you know why, Sly? You all right there? You all right there, Sly?
Just reading this every time, like, why?
Why are there no fat people? It makes you funny. Makes you feel funny. Here's the thing. I can understand NPCs being fat, but do you know how much we run? And like how much exercise we get? This isn't like CJ from Grand Theft Auto 4, where you could just stuff your face and drive every place and get real fat. So, like, I get that, like, some people don't want the fit character, but also, it wasn't 4, it was, I was thinking San Andreas. My bad. It's like, I get why people want it, but it doesn't. No. It's just no. Yeah, if you're fat, your movement speed is lower. Good luck dodging AoEs. The Dragoon goes to backflip, he just fucking misses. He doesn't, like, finish the flip.
No,
just lands on his neck and dies. Fat Monk goes to use Tornado Kick, they just go, whoa!
Did I lose skill speed too? Yeah, you would lose skill speed.
You get the out of breath debuff as a character. Oh my god. Shoulder tackle, they just trip. They can't even like close the gap. Red Mage, Core, they get down for the count, they never get back up. They pull a real they go full Fat Joe on you. They lean back, they just never get back up.
Why would
Sprint only lasts 5 seconds instead of 10. 10 outside of combat, of course. I'm fat. I can talk about this, okay? We're fat. We can do this. If we think it's funny, it should be funny.
The comments are going to be so great for this.
You get pacification right after you sprint.
We're done. Okay. We're done.
You can't be knocked back, though. You have permanent arm's length. That's the plus. That's the plus. Eating, your food buffs are stronger. Oh, no, actually, well, your food buffs are stronger, yeah, but they only last 5 minutes and they get hungry again. You can have multiple food buffs on at once. This is... Lalafel's got a debuff that says actual potato now. Rescue doesn't work. There you go.
He's still going. He's still fucking going.
Sly, in weeks like this, we really need this type of content. You don't understand.
Oh, fuck. This has turned into 14 fat jokes.
They've got more health. There you go. See, now we're naming good things, though. You have to cast Rescue twice. You need 2 people to pull. The fat chocobo can become your ally.
I'm done. I'm fucking done.
Oh, you have to hang a cake from the front of you to get him to run. Just like the fat chocobo mount.
No. It would have to be fried chocobo.
Oh. KFC. Kentucky Fried Chocobo.
Yep.
Warrior has permanent home gang. Okay. when you're swimming, when you're swimming or flying, you just naturally descend, but without pressing anything. There you go.
Oh fuck!
All right, this is getting out of hand. I think.
Yeah.
It's a little. It's getting a little out of hand. I think. I like it. I like where the show went. I like it. You know what? Now I'm for fat people in this game. You know what? Square Enix, this guy's right. I don't care if you have to rework, according to the interview, over 20,000 pieces of equipment.
You just want fucking jokes.
I just want the jump puzzles to be even harder, okay? That's all I want. And this will help me achieve that. Okay? That way they don't have to add more. I just make a new character and that's naturally harder. Okay?
So many dislikes this week.
No, it's gonna be really good. Cliffhanger Ultimate. Alright. Anyway. If you're upset with 2 fat people talking about fat MMO characters, please. Please. Oh, I'm so not done. Cover doesn't work on them. There you go. I like that. Alright, that's another good one. Yeah, so anyway. Moving on. No new character creation stuff. And he likes to dodge the question of new race. He's just like, we can't comment on that at this time. Laugh, laugh, laugh. And it's like, everyone's like, you saying that out loud makes us look at you a lot closer, Yoshida. Maybe the new races are fat. Anyway. So, yeah. It would just be too much work. There's just a lot of work to make fat people. We made it out to be a lot more work than it is. But, I mean, that's on top of what they would actually have to do.
He's still going.
Yes. No, I'm actually talking about it. They say it right here. Create a system that allows a weight slider would mean completely revamping what we have, so it would probably be something really difficult to do. It's actually the same reason they said the butt slider is so hard to do. Because they'd have to rework all the armor for all the fat ass characters that they'd be adding.
Literal fat ass
characters. PHAT in this case. There we go.
No.
What do you mean no?
No. FAT is fine. That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thick. There you go. With 2 C's. With 2 C's. Listen, I've seen the monstrosities. Going back to Blade and Soul, you can make some monstrosities in that game. So I totally understand why they're not jumping at the bit to get to that point. All right. Yeah, and then the next question's for Soken. They just ask about some of the inspirations behind Tsukiyomi. One of those questions that people who are really into... I actually didn't really notice some of these. So if you listen to Tsukiyomi's song, you can hear part of the Yanja Field music. He also makes mention that there are pieces of the Doma Castle dungeon that are in there. And there's places where Revolutions is used. So all those different tracks are kind of sampled into the song. And he kind of talks about like why he does that and what the process is of going through that. And does he often like taking existing tracks and making something new out of them? We kind of got that with a lot with Omega also. Because while we get, I got some chicken I'm ready to fry, we also got, the other two Omega songs are, based off of existing themes that we have already as well. So,
and then the burn, of course.
Yeah, and then the burn, and then the burn. The burn's got our good old boy Gaius. It's got a little remix of a theme we closely associate with him.
Of course.
So it is. I like a little bit of both. I think that this patch music, like going back to some of the tracks that we love the most and using them to kind of amplify the situation, worked really well. I just also like when he makes new stuff like 011. And this was a good patch. This was a great patch, OST variety-wise. I feel. At least maybe some people disagree.
I'll actually get the album when this one comes out.
Me too. High five. There you go. The only other album I have is my Octopath one right here. Imported that from Japan. Keep it handy because I like to listen to it on occasion. Let's see. They did. Koji was there also, by the way. Apparently, he's in the room because he enters like part of this question right here. Because Koji Fox is the one who named the song itself. The music theme of Doma's Castle is called Gates of the Moon. Current status of the story: what happened to Yotsuyu? Was the choice of this name's title premeditated when you composed the music for the release? Knowing what would happen in the next update, was known how it wasn't known how it was going to be used. It ended up being pure chance. I like when Koji leaves things up to pure chance. I like when he names things and then has to change them, like Phlegathon. Yes, Phlegathon. Always Phlegathon, never Acheron. Those are good times. I remember when they did that. It was really, really weird. Also asked Soken a question. What inspires you? It's a question he gets a lot. I asked him that in the last interview I had with Soken. So very similar. Just gets it from everything he does. And this is where they go back into Blizzard fanboy mode. He's like, Overwatch. Which heroes do you play? Diva, Reinhardt, and Zarya. Sometimes Zenyatta. Yep. Yoshida also gets a little nervous on this next question right here. Then this goes into the Blizzard fanboys a little bit more. Final Land asks, Monster Hunter collaboration was a big success on both sides, but what game would you like to have? So here's the thing with this question. Yoshida has a bad habit of when he says, I would like this, and he says that doesn't mean it's happening, it then happens. Now, luckily, I think he's given us the one scenario where there's no chance. But, like, before A Realm Reborn released, he said if he had to pick a job from Tactics, he would add Machinists. What did we get in Evansword? He also said Red Mage would be one of his other favorites to get in the game. Stormblood, we got Red. Like, he's named them. That's why people took the calculator thing pretty seriously, or the arithmetician thing, when he said that really seriously, because he's got a track record. And this question is, what would you like to do a collaboration with for 14? And Yoshida's first thing is, I don't want you to misunderstand. He knows that people see that and go, I know exactly. It's like, oh yeah, what would you like, Yoshida? And he said Diablo.
Where would we go with this? Like, if we were to just go any direction with this, where would we go and how?
I mean, I think back to the original Diablo where you're basically descending to hell and it's kind of like Deep Dungeon. It's literally like my first thought is the original Diablo is literally like a Deep Dungeon style gameplay with with Diablo at the end itself. But yeah, the church at Tristan as a Deep Dungeon as you're going down. The cow level. Can't have fat people, but we can have a cow level. There we go. Moo. That's right. There is no cow level. Primevals. Yeah, that's another one. Yeah, there's a lot of places. It's one of those things that can never happen because they look at World of Warcraft and be like, yeah, we can't exactly advertise for another MMO that's rival to us. They just advertise within their own shit. That's what Heroes of the Storm does. They're just like, yeah, here are all our other heroes, and a MOBA style game, and then Diablo. I mean, Diablo's doing like the Legend of Zelda stuff for the Switch version. But that's on a Zelda's not an MMO. It's not the same as if the Warrior of Light was an option for like Crusader or something.
Speaking of like advertising shit, the 15 Terra battle thing did not make any sense.
No, but I heard a lot of people thought it was pretty good. Like the actual event.
It was pretty good, but it just didn't like that.
Well, let's be clear about this. You know who Terra Wars is made by, right?
Not exactly.
Sakaguchi. You know, the father of Final Fantasy. Makes a little more sense considering everything, but you know. Also, yeah, I think it's Terra. Was it Terra War or Terra Battle? Because I think they're making a new Terra mobile game style thing. Because there's multiples. I don't remember which one it is for the collaboration. Listen, man, I'm still giving up on the 14-15 collaboration. Talking about another fucking collaboration with 15 it keeps hurting. Because everything except 14 is pretty much at this point. So I'm just giving up.
Street Fighter, maybe. I know. To
be fair, then we get the fighting game for real, you know, so. Noctis was in Tekken, fuck it, right?
Right.
There you go. No, we don't need another Yokai Watch. Stop it. It's done. M. Bison as our raid boss. There you go. Super big Bison. Now, I want Guile as a boss, so the whole time it's just his theme playing.
Apparently the car agrees.
Yeah, it stopped. It's like in four honks. There you go. Man. Also, they name God of War.
Boy.
You walk up, he walks up to the lava and goes, boy. Actually, no, I'm a girl. I understand it can be hard to tell at times, but I am a girl, Lalafell. Boy. That's all I am. I don't even know what else to take from that. I mean, other than Warriors getting his axe, even, you know, Warriors getting his axe is like the one big thing I take away from that. Bard's getting Atreus's bow. They kill gods, we kill gods. Makes perfect sense, right?
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, those are two. I think they went with options that we are like never gonna have, pretty much, because they're like, yeah, this is never gonna happen. So let's just name shit that's impossible or so unlikely. There's no way. They even say can't do Mario, maybe Zelda.
I honestly wouldn't want Zelda.
I don't know if I'd want any Nintendo. Like, thinking about it, like, I don't know what Nintendo, like, IP I would really want to collab with. I guess I'm thinking a little too narrow. I'm thinking, like, Mario, Zelda, Samus, you know. Not You're really thinking Fire Emblem. You know, Fire Emblem is on that list, to be fair. Splatoon, no. Anyway, that dude, let's be honest. Splatoon's going to be the next Rival Wings mode. So, it's going to be cover the map in fucking ink. Actually, it's probably going to be a battle royale, let's be real. But, you know. Or Octopath. I mean, Octopath is developed by Square, but it is published by, you know, Nintendo. So, it's a little easier to do. These thoughts rolling through your head, Sly?
We're thinking too much. We're thinking too much in the future. Honestly.
Hey man, a lot of this interview is just people just throwing ideas out. Kind of, you know.
And then one of these ideas actually sticks.
Yeah.
Some aren't bad, but I'm just saying one of the bad ones actually sticks.
I mean, yeah, like the next one is more is again like something. It's not really too much to discuss. It's about like when they decide to write the story, which I thought Koji Fox would be able to answer, but Yoshida's the one who oversees like when they start like using certain elements and stuff like that. Like Heavensward, they decided back when they were doing 1.0, but with Stormblood, they had some of that with Alamigo, and then they had Hingashi and Authard as there that was kind of new, and then Garlemald and everything. That's something that wasn't planned from the beginning, but was added kind of later. And we got way more of that than we did the West Side, because fucking Alamigo apparently doesn't mean shit after 4.1. Like, yeah, no, you guys dealt with that Lakshmi thing. We're good. Fordola? Nah. She'll come back. Eventually.
Again, about it for Fordola, Tales from the Storm. It's actually pretty decent.
Oh, yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Who else was she there with, Sly? Who is the one actually narrating that Tales of the Storm?
Arnvald.
There you go. Proud of you.
Yeah.
What's the name of Steen's armor?
Fuck you.
That's not an answer, Sly, and it's one I think you should know.
You're re-asking me the same question that I know now.
That's okay. There you go. I had to make sure. I needed to hear you say it.
Yes, I actually went back and read the Tales from the Storm.
You said you did. I had to test. I had to put it to the test at some point. All right, let's see. And then this goes into Yoshida advising players to take breaks. The game pushes the player to stay up to date. For example, you can't take a break from the game for more than 30 days if you have a house. It's kind of weird to hear a producer tell people to take a break and play other games, which is what I was saying. For housing, you don't have to play. You just have to log in and click the door once a month, and they go, but if I take a game break for 2 months, I may not want to pay the subscription. And then he goes, well, if you just had an apartment, you wouldn't have to worry about that. It kind of sheds a light on like kind of the intent of apartments. Like apartments are meant for people who don't want to be like permanent homeowners. They just want to have a little crib in Eorzea. Whereas the house owner is like, listen, you want to have a house, you gotta fucking play the game if you want to have a house. All right. So that's just how it is, man. You can't accept it any other way.
There is still absolutely nothing in my apartment. I
think I have a pillar.
I don't think I even put a couch in my apartment. I need to get a couch for it. Let me just get a couch so there'll be something.
Dude, I always said this to Mel before we moved in together. I was always like, listen, if I was living on my own, it would literally be like a desk and a mattress and a computer, and that's it, and a chair. And she's like, fridge? And I was like, yeah, I guess. It was like I didn't even think about the fridge when I answered that.
You didn't even say microwave?
I didn't say microwave or anything. I was literally I named those 4 things. I didn't say fridge, I didn't say microwave, I didn't say oven. I was like, she was like, but what about like a table? Or I was like, no, fuck that shit. I don't need a table, I don't need a couch, I don't need the recliner, I don't even need the fucking TV. All right, I literally just need the basic essentials. Well, I mean, a bathroom is a given, but I don't have to go out of my way and buy the toilet. It's part of the unit. I'm not there. They don't give me an empty space and say, please attach your toilet to the, please attach the toilet you have purchased to this area. Unless it doesn't have a bathroom and I just have a bag, but that's a whole nother story, you know.
Or an outhouse.
Yeah, that's. But then I still couldn't buy the toilet. You know, there you go. Yeah. So anyway, and then it's just kind of the same answer, you know. But he's like, I have a lot of free time. Yoshida's like, when I have a lot of free time, you know, I go on trips. I bring my PS4 and I play Monster Hunter or God of War. And Soken's like, I play Final Fantasy 14 when I'm away. That's the game I play when I'm away. He's like, I have a PC in front of me. It makes me play for a long period of time. Back home, I have my PS4, and there's other games I'm playing. It's all about balance. I just imagine Yoshida with the glove. Snaps his finger, a new patch comes out.
No, I don't feel so good. Just new patch.
Omega's like, I don't feel so good. Omega had that moment where he didn't feel so good.
Yeah.
There you go. And then Eureka's like, oh, I don't play so good. There you go. All right. So, and then I think this next one was one of the big questions where people looked at it and read and went, since A Realm Reborn, the end pattern hasn't changed a lot. Farming tomestones, 4 high-level raid bosses, alliance raids. Are there any plans to break the pattern, doing something new, or are you going to continue to follow it? He says, currently we have added the even higher end, the ultimate RIP 4.5. But beyond that, we still haven't considered anything yet. However, the Disciples of Hand in Lane, we are thinking of some new type of content. So for that, there's a lot of different ways to read the way that is, and it's very much, like a lot of Yoshida's answers, it's left a lot up to interpretation. No.
You're doing favors again.
No Hamlets either. No Hamlets either.
Oh, God.
Because here's the thing. I don't think people necessarily want these things to not be there. It's more so when we look at the pattern, people want new things sprinkled in. I don't see a reason to change the Tombstone raid, Alliance raid, like those basics. It's a matter of what else they can fit in. So I can understand why he would say, no, we're not thinking of changing that. I mean, the only other thing I could interpret is like when he says, no, we're not thinking of changing it, like 4 high-level raid bosses, meaning it'll always be 4. Whereas, I'm a fan of, just a better difficulty curve with 5 or 6 bosses, as much as it's a big ask. It's a problem. It's a very open-ended answer, but a lot of people got really upset over this answer because he said, no, yeah, the pattern's going to stay exactly the same. He didn't say that, but that's kind of like what the reaction was upon reading it. I mean, people got upset. People got upset over the dungeons, Sly. We didn't. People did. Now imagine if that happened to us. I remember hearing that argument. It's like, oh, yeah, imagine if, he started saying, oh, we're only doing 3 raid bosses to work on other content. And I'm like, okay, there's a big difference between dungeons and raid bosses, but I'll humor you for a second. Is it more ultimate? Because I'm down. And that actually punishes casual players nowadays too, which is another thing. Whereas the dungeons kind of only punishes casual players, I guess. And this
raid trickles down to the casuals more than dungeons. I mean, dungeons are for everybody, but it's more I hate to say the hardcore base that really cares about raid. But you're right, it does trickle down to the casuals because they eventually do it, and then
in the normal mode too. Like you have to consider that there is normal mode raid, so it's one less boss for both sides of the both sides of the coin. Right. So I don't know. I was shocked to see as many people get upset over saying that when I wouldn't want the pattern to stop. I just want better side things when they do branch out to do other things, which we discussed earlier. That's how I interpreted it. Sly, do you want the pattern to change? Do you want that specific pattern with the tombstones, the endgame raids, and the alliance raids alternating? It's all they named.
Yeah.
Just name those 3 things.
I don't.
You don't want that to stop. Neither do I.
I don't want change. No change.
That's why this man still goes to Hooters. He hasn't figured out there's other places yet. He's afraid of change.
No.
It's okay. I forgive you, Sly. And then they're just asked about FanFest. Just the European FanFest. They could have done this better. Talking about how the Team in America for Las Vegas has a bunch of stuff, and they're getting all of that ready. Europe is in the process of coming up with ideas. It's our 3rd time doing this. We're on the verge of our limit break, trying to come up with new ideas and stuff. They're going to try things. They're going to try things they haven't done before this time. It's always a little bit nervous. Like, can we do this right? We have experience from the previous ones, and we'll put all of that into our next events.
Why is it that, and I just thought of this, why is it that every time we get the opportunity, we never ask why we are the first? Why we were the first FanFest every single time? We never ask that question.
I'll ask
because we feel good. Someone needs to.
I'd be like, Yoshida, is there a reason why North America has been first all 3 times? I don't know. Maybe there is. Maybe it's timing. Maybe it's they look at the time of when, like, because for us it's happening in November between Halloween, Thanksgiving, before Christmas. I remember one year the Japanese one, I think it was on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day.
Yeah, it was.
So it's like, we couldn't do that for North America. So it's kind of obvious. I don't remember if Europe was happening like around some time that was important for North America. I don't think it did. I think the 3rd one generally takes place when we're kind of open and free. and the first and second ones are kind of in a rough season. But I don't know. I mean, we're the largest region. Also, maybe they just want us to get it first. True. Maybe that's why. Maybe just want us to get us first.
We complain about the shit that we don't get in that Japan and Europe.
Like but that's been the concert songs. That's been the concert songs in the past, and the actual trailer, and like job I always like to say North America actually does get the first job announcement because the shirt we get at North America is usually pretty easy. We got Scarlet Witch and Batman. Like those were super. Like those might as well have been job reveals as far as I'm concerned.
And then like 007 for the first one.
No, like, 007 was what he did at the second one. It was Batman. Because I remember when the Batman shirt came on, Mel called me an idiot because I started thinking of like the Ninja. Ninja had like a bat armor from PvP, and it was the first thing that came to mind. And she looked at me because she goes, "The Dark Knight, idiot." I was like, "Oh yeah." She was disappointed, but she doesn't even play it anymore, and she was just like, "Dark Knight, idiot." Damn. Get shit on. Pretty much. Next we had, they asked about glamour restrictions. I actually am getting tired of this answer. About, like, tanks looking like tanks and healers looking like healers and shit. Because my tank wears a bikini. Like, you've lost this image on me anyway. Like, that's why we have the glamour restrictions. Everyone has their own taste. Maybe paladin. Like the thing they're afraid of is a paladin showing up entirely in white mage armor and like fucking with people's heads. And it's like, you can't be worried about the few people who would do this. Think about all the people who just want more options.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all it is. Like, I don't know. There's nothing else to add. I don't agree with Yoshida's answer, and I haven't agreed with it. I get it, but it doesn't make any sense.
I mean, in all fairness, some of that shit does look foolish. It does.
It already does, though, is the thing. Like, people already look foolish compared to, like, that statement. Like, a tank wearing a bikini. Like, I get that that's not what they're talking about. They're talking about the idea of a tank looking like another job.
Yeah.
But you just look like you just look like you made a wrong turn on the way to fucking Malibu or something. It's like, this isn't Malibu, that's Bahamut. What's going on here? Where's the martinis? Or a chocobo tanking or something like that. Like, it's still weird. It's still weird. I think they could do away with glamour restrictions. That's it. It's my opinion.
I think they should keep him, honestly.
What's your reason? I want to know your reason.
I mean, first of all, like you said, the confusion. Secondly,
there's a job icon next to that person's fucking, like, in PvP, okay, maybe I get it.
It's going to get to some people. We're not going to pay attention to that shit, first of all. Like, we'll see that,
Do you need ACT triggers for that too, Sly?
Really? You're going to go there?
I'm going.
You're going to go there? As someone who has a raid leader who does call-outs, you can't say
I do the call-outs. But I do them like 8 seconds in advance. I'm like, hey, this is coming up. Yours has to do it on the fly. I'm better than the machine.
You're supposed to be.
Good. You know how I feel, Sly.
I know how you feel.
I don't know. I think get rid of him. I don't agree with you, Sly.
It's just... What... Other than, what would it add for you?
Customization for Glamour is literally all about customizing the appearance of your character.
We already have customization, but and we get even more.
Bring it to the fullest.
For the contest.
No restrictions. No restrictions. That's it. It's just, if it's the true end game, then why you got to bring it down? There's no real good reason for a restriction is the problem. I don't see a good enough reason to restrict it.
I don't see a good enough reason not to restrict.
But do you have a good enough reason to restrict it? I'm calling that into question.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
But it's not about it being broken. It's about it being incomplete. Something can be working fine and you can make it better. Oil it up.
And this makes it better how?
Because the people who care about it can customize themselves to the maximum. And then they have, for them, it's more content. Maybe then they want to level another job to get that glam. Keeps them interested longer, gives them more goals to aim for. Vanity, okay, I like this statement. Vanity is the only lasting value in gear and weapons and because we replace things with itemable fairly frequently. The more limitations you remove, the more freedom people have with their vanity.
Fair.
Glamour is endgame. Don't ruin it. I'm always of the opinion, if it doesn't affect me, just let them have it. That's my thing.
I mean, I just see no reason to change anything. That's all I'm saying.
Like, fine, Sly. Fine.
Ain't broke.
Sly, then I got a question for you. Okay? Is what Hermit's saying here true? Did ACT call something out during Mist Dragon?
It did. I don't know what the fuck it called out.
It probably called out the marker over your head.
I didn't get the marker. Somebody else got it. And again, like, in all fairness, I was rating before that, and I was doing 09, and then I kind of left ACT on and shit. So, like, yeah, it just randomly called shit out. So,
person who put that in ACT, I'm more disappointed at you in this case.
It's probably like a command that goes for like.
No, I know how those work. They literally have like all the text for like in every trigger for like everything they could possibly imagine. Mm-hmm. You didn't need to put that in there, okay? Anyone who needs it isn't using it, and anyone who is using it doesn't need it.
Yeah.
I ain't making no HCT for fucking Mist Dragon, all right?
No.
For dungeons. Dungeon mechanics. Goodness gracious. Goodness. Okay. Those are both the interviews, by the way.
Yeah.
That's it. That was the end of the other. It's Dunzo. Yeah. That's it. It's oh boy. And now we're at the end of the show.
Yeah.
We had some good discussions. We talked about fat people and ACT triggers. That's gonna be that should be the new name of the show. Fat people, fat warriors of light. Fat ACT calls.
So,
can we get fat ACT trigger voices? Oh, next mechanic.
Thank you so much.
Like it could sound like the guy from Men in Black. The first one. The guy who sugar, water, more.
Happy's just gonna go ahead and go do our patrons for this week.
Even Final Fantasy XI doesn't have glamour restrictions. I'm going with that. I'm just saying, man. I'm bringing the chat into this.
Okay.
Sly's like, I don't know what to do anymore.
This shit is completely derailed.
No, we're completely on topic right now. We're still talking about the interview stuff. We are, though.
So,
thank you, audio listeners, for putting up with us. Audio-only listeners, sometimes you guys don't get as good a show. I just want you to know you should watch on YouTube if you can.
So, you want to go ahead and do the patrons?
Yeah, please? I can do that. Sly, you want me to do that?
Yes, please. Please and thank you.
The Warriors of Light, our patrons of light, and our other patrons and stuff like that. You want me to do that, Sly? I can do that for you. Let me get that list real quick. You know what? I got it right here. I got it right here, Sly. So now that we've gotten through those interviews with as many discussion topics as we possibly could over the length of a show, we would like to thank our sponsors for putting up with that bullshit. Is this adequate for you, Sly?
This is adequate. Keep going.
Okay, there you go. We would like to thank our sponsors over on Patreon for supporting us through #demonetized. Among those, we have several different tiers of people supporting. We, of course, have our Patrons of Light to start. We have, and by the way, you've made me do my outro out of order. I'm letting you know this is your fault now. We are going to be first thanking our Patrons of Light, plural, as we revealed last week. We have Khuja on the Jenova server, and they always provide... Now, Sly, I'm going to warn you right now. I need you to relax for this image, okay? I need you to relax. Before I swap over to it, can you relax? Are you relaxed?
I am relaxed.
Okay. So now that he says he's relaxed, I think you might be able to figure out exactly what this picture is. Are you relaxed, Sly?
Give me a second.
Are you relaxed? Oh. Oh no. Chat figured it out real quick.
Hold on.
Loading. Hold on. No, Sly's not there yet. Sly's not there yet. So you want to know, this is actually somebody asked if that was going to be what the picture was, so they made this because somebody else commented on it.
Why? It's infected us too. Why? This shit needs to stop.
If you don't get it in your
y'all.
Sly.
What's up with y'all?
It would have never happened if somebody hadn't said, look, there's even a screenshot of the image that is to blame for why this exists. It's just I like that there's someone to blame for this at the bottom. There you go. And now chat's like, so if I comment on another one. So thank you, Khuja for that, because Sly's reaction was worth every second, as was the chats as they slowly realized what was happening or what had happened on the screen. And Sly's that little shaking my head right there.
This needs to fucking die. I swear.
I agree. But that's not our only patron of light. We also have our new patron of light, second one added to the list, Kurenai Oni, who has, I think Sly can vouch, has, yeah.
Yeah, that's all you can say. Yeah.
If you're on YouTube, it doesn't make any sense to you. If you're on Twitch, it makes perfect sense to you right now. So, thank you to our patrons of light, and thank you for the image, Khuja, for ruining Sly's day, because it was as exciting as it was, I don't know, funny. That's the other word. There you go. We also have all of our other sponsors. We have our standard sponsors: Carol, Ray, Senshi, Shadowlink on Tonberry, Dom, Asuka Wake from Jenova, Lamillion Eller of Midgard-Sormer, Serren the Fennel Family, Janhyua Yotsuyu, Kifca and the Great Eagles on Exodus, Dark Graver, Katayoshi from Khuja, Skia Symphonia from Ragnarok, Rah Xephon from Exodus, Rylanator, Westaus the Purple Warrior, Eadric Redsteele on Exodus, Lexxie Valentine, Mantaru the Rivivus FC from Zodiark, Sour Cream and Tribes from Jenova, Rynoet Chikara, Yoshida Soken of Serren, Hersh Fersh of Faerie, Phoenix Down FC on Goblin, and Serren from Zodiark. We also have our premium sponsors. We have Alchemy, Jonathan, Shinka, Casual Heroes FC on Midgard-Sormer, Tatachitaka on Hyperion, Kano Uzuki of the Jenova server, Yu Starla on Coral, Sathal, Sarah Frost from Behemoth, Diablo, Holy Tabasco, Red Thorn, Asara, Askin Hawk from Shiva, Crash 015, Mustang, Serenity FC on Ultras, Cat Kazuma, Serial Kira on Cactar, Ingus Farragon from Excalibur, Flesher of Fanfrit, Knock Quarters from Excalibur, Krovos Moonscar, Private Mikey, Spike, Nani Kirasami, Rudy Gritting Colossus, Killer Hacker, and Rawl Jr., and Kiltastic Jones.
Thank you to all of our patrons, and sorry.
Sorry. What are you apologizing to them for? For what? For this fat episode? Or for Bowsette? Which one are you apologizing for?
Yes.
Now, Sly, because you asked me to do the patron list, I did this out of order. Don't forget, people. I think there's going to be. I think the giveaway from last month's actually going to be ending soon for the Steel Series one. I have to go double check that, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be ending very soon, and we'll be having the next month's giveaway starting up. But under every episode, always check the description. There's a giveaway for some free Steel Series swag. They sponsor the channel. They sponsor the show. And as such, you can win free shit for Steel Series. And it's free, so there's no reason you shouldn't enter. Just read what it says about entering, and you should be good to go. So go to the YouTube description of the video and go enter that. And I feel like I'm missing something, Sly. Oh, that's right. With 30 days left until FanFest, we have to remind everyone we'll be going to the Limit Break Radio party.
Yes, we will.
It's has been made official now. Two of the hosts will be leaving the show after FanFest to pursue greener pastures. I don't know what the right word is. Their other show, Checkpoint Radio, is doing really well, so they're focusing more on that.
Yes.
That's what I wanted to say. Let me see if I can find the exact post that has it. Let's see. Non-alcoholic VIP. That you're in the wrong place if that's what you're looking for. Let's see. Oh, well, here I found the actual episode for it, which was on October 9th. I wanted to... Oh, there you go. Hosts Nero, Callow, and Escalia leaving Limit Break Radio. Yeah. Okay, that'll do. That's from Gamer Escape, so... Can always link that. Yeah, they're going to be leaving. Checkpoint Radio has been doing well, and so they're going to be focusing their energy on that. So they're going to be leaving it to Nika and Juxta.
Yeah.
So it's hard. They've been around for a long time. They've been around since Final Fantasy 11 times. Yeah.
Yes, it's 06 actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to be a hell of a thing. Imagining a show without a Nero losing his fucking mind all the time. But you get to, although if you listen,
we got to get it on camera at least one more time before he, come.
I mean, I'm sure we can always get that, but now maybe people will get to know Nate, because Nate's a wonderful gentleman. Yes. Nero's the one that rages like a lunatic, and he fucking knows he's doing it. I call him on it all the time, but he knows what he's fucking doing.
Yeah. I just ask for the Nero answer. You will get an Nero answer.
Yeah, there you go. You got Nero and Nate. It's like two sides of the same coin. I still wish I'd been better at Here's the problem. They asked me to talk shit about a Nero, and I knew Nate. So when I tried to do it, I was like, I can't. I know Nate. I can't say bad things because I know Nate.
And see, I actually like a Nero, so I can't talk shit about a Nero. We were the worst ones to ask for anything.
Oh, no.
Yeah, this is so fucking sad.
No, it's okay. We'll be at the party and we'll have a drink. It'll be good times.
Yeah.
So we'll be there, and if you wanna attend as well, I don't know. Do they still have attendance open for that? The application, the thing. Let's see if I can find it for the party.
They should.
I don't see it pinned on. It was pinned before.
I can just ask.
Yeah, you can. You can do that. Yeah. VIP is still open. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just trying to find the link. Because I remember when I first tried using the link that they had. Oh, you know what? That might be why it's unpinned. Because I remember I was having major issues with the pinned link. It kept giving me like a thing saying like, oh, the certificate is not valid or something like that. So I think I have it right here. No. Let's see. No, that's not it. Yeah, because I think I have one. I think I have an email from Cookie that I can share in the chat. Or not an email, but the link from the email that I think is like the updated one. I'm looking for it right now. I don't know if I have it handy. I have until the 31st to RSVP. I mean, for some people, the original link worked. Is this the one? I think this might be the one. No, that's not the one. That's a different email. All right. Somebody's got to have the email in the chat. Or not the email. I keep saying the email, the link.
The link.
Someone's got to have the link in the chat somewhere. It's a fucking after party. And by the way, it's at the esports arena. I've been to the esports arena in, what's it called? It's like an hour south of me. Not Anaheim. God damn it, I can't remember where. It's like an hour south of me, and it's an amazing venue. I've been there multiple times. I was there for the Dissidia NT tournament earlier this year. I was there for the Blade and Soul launch, and so I can't wait to see the esports arena in Las Vegas.
And there will be we didn't mention, there will be a Street Fighter tournament that Aya is hosting, her as Dancing Fighter. She'll be hosting, and she's trying to, get the, I guess the tournament, the PCs down there.
Hey, Santa found it.
Oh, thank you. But yeah, she's trying to get that organized. So if you are interested in, joining, signing up for the tournament, you should follow her on Twitter. She'll have more information as we get closer. So if you are in the FGC and you want to get in on it, go ahead. More the merrier.
I'm free in fighting games. I'm not fucking around. I'm free as fuck. I am what the FGC would refer to as free.
Free.
There you go. All right. So, yeah, okay. So I think that now covers everything. So, Sly, you can finally say goodbye to people, I think, for the day.
I would like to say I'm sorry to everyone watching. Next week will definitely be a show.
I don't know, Sly. There might be even less to talk about next week. This might come back around.
Oh, God. It will be a show, possibly a shit show. But hi, I'm Sly. You can find me at twitch.tv/Sly, aka Greyfox, Twitter at Slythefox, Instagram at Sly, aka Greyfox07, youtube.com/Velvet Room. Yeah, like a lot of stuff coming up. FanFest in 30 days, TwitchCon next week. I will be there. Mike will be there. Yeah, just a lot of stuff coming up, and again, too many goddamn games. And again, I'm sorry, Mike.
Just to be clear, he's just sorry that he feels that way about the glamour restrictions. Anyway, you can find me, Mr. Happy 1227, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, all those things. Been playing a lot of MapleStory 2 lately, because it just launched, and I've been doing tons of grinding in that. Lots of fire dragons. A great many fire dragons have been slain in the recent weeks. And I intend to do things that are not fire dragons the times that are coming. But I still do need lots of fire dragons. So it's a 50-50. But yeah, we've got that going on. A few things coming up in the future. We have World of Final Fantasy Maxima. Sinner Sacrifice or Redemption comes out Friday. Looking to play that. Dark Souls style game where it's, bosses, high intensity bosses. Although it has the unique aspect of you start fully powered and you have to sacrifice different vices, I suppose, in order to actually attack the bosses, so you could lose health or lose access to certain items, blah blah blah. And then by the end of it all, you've lost everything, you've shed yourself of all your vices, and then you have one final boss at the end there. And you can choose to respawn bosses, take your vices back, respawn bosses to then go take on a boss with another advantage. And I'm really looking forward to Sinner. I've been waiting for it for a long time. So that's another thing that's soon on my radar. And if you're a fan of Dark Souls bosses, look forward to that too. And Indivisible, but I don't know when the fuck that's coming. So I want to play it. It's by the Skullgirls people. I want to play that now. But that's going to be a wrap for us this week. We'll see you next week with whatever the hell we figure out, because now we're in one of those things now. Figure something out. I hope.
I hope
Sly,
so.
If you have any ideas, feel free to send them.
I will be looking around.
Okie dokie. All right. Well, with that, everyone, we're going to go on into a short post show before I have to go raid. So I will see all of you fine ladies and gentlemen tomorrow, and Sly will see you. I don't know. You're not raiding after. You're not streaming after this, are you?
Nope. Anime night.
Anime night. He'll anime with you. So we'll see you next week. And until then, you have a good one. Okay.
See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Hopefully.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna go use the restroom real quick before we.
Yes.